The Invoice Approval Hub is a function within the owner login system. If you have not logged into the system before, Capitol will set you up with an email address and a password, and you can use those details to log in. For buildings that are using the Invoice Hub, only the invoice approver or approvers will have access to the Invoice Hub button. As you can see here, it is the first button on the navigation bar. This button will only appear when the first invoice has been loaded for approval. The process for invoice approvals is that Capitol will receive the invoice from the supplier and enter the details into our payment system. After that is complete, an email will be sent automatically to the invoice approver, advising them that there is an invoice that is pending their approval. Once they have approved the invoice, it will be paid in the next payment run. This increases the speed of payment to suppliers, and it puts more power back in the hands of the committee. For this particular building, I will click on the Invoice Hub to give you an overview of what the screen looks like and how it works. You can see here that the building is named Cascades by the Bay and that there are 6 invoices awaiting your approval. I'm looking at what the owner of this building would look at when they are logging into the system. If I would like to know how much money is in the Body Corporate bank account or how much money is in the administration or the sinking funds, I can go to the right of the screen here. I can click the button that says Financial Report and click on this icon, and that will raise to the screen a copy of the financial statement for the Body Corporate. That financial statement is updated overnight, so it should always reflect the most current information to hand. Once the committee member is satisfied that there is funds in the account to pay for the invoice, they can click through, to the building name and the number of invoices. This will take them to the approval screen. As you can see, we are now on the Approve screen within the Invoice Hub. As you can see, there are 6 invoices awaiting approval. The system will give you the creditor name, so that is the name of the company to which the money will be dispersed. It will give you the invoice date, the invoice number, and the gross amount of the invoice. For each particular invoice, you can click the blue magnifying glass, which will bring up the details that we have entered for that particular invoice. If you click the line items button, you will see where we've allocated that particular spending within the Body Corporate's budget. In this case, it's been allocated to repairs and maintenance lifts. If you're happy with that, you can click OK. If you have a query on the allocation or any other query about the invoice, you can click the blue man with the speech bubble, and that will raise a query to the Body Corporate Manager. So for example, I might put, please change allocation to repairs and maintenance gardens, for example. If I would like to view a scanned copy of the invoice, again, I click this red PDF View Invoice button, and that will bring up a copy of the invoice to the screen. I can then review the invoice, make sure that the work invoiced has been completed, and then once I'm satisfied with that, I close that window and I come back to the approval screen. Once I'm happy with this first invoice, I can then click the green tick, and that will mark that invoice as being approved for payment. There is a second step. So if I scroll down to the bottom of the screen, I'm now looking at the confirm changes to invoice area of the page. Once I'm happy with the changes, I click the submit changes button, and I get a further confirmation that I'm about to change the status of that invoice and I'm about to accept it. It's important that these steps are confirmed, because once these steps have been confirmed, the contractor will be paid very quickly by our system. If at any time you believe you've made a mistake, you can press no. If in the confirm changes to invoices area you've made a mistake, you can click the green arrow, and that will return that invoice to the pending approval area. Further along the top of the screen, I can see a summary button. This is an overview of the invoices awaiting approval. In some cases, there can be multiple approval layers. So for example, if the caretaker or the secretary had to approve the invoice first, that would come up down here saying pending approval from whoever the secretary is, and then I would see that that's coming to me next for approval. I could click on the history tab and that would show me a list of the invoices that I had previously approved. So you can see these are the invoices that have been paid. The invoices are available through this page for 90 days, and after that time they drop off. I can see that the last invoice approved was for Baxter Consulting Engineers. Again, I can see the invoice date and the invoice number and the gross amount. Under the Settings tab, the only option is to receive Invoice Hub email notifications, and we firmly recommend that remain ticked. Otherwise, if an invoice is uploaded to the system, then the invoice approver may not be notified by email, and they would have to log in regularly to check the system. If that is ticked, then each invoice that is uploaded will generate an email to the approver, and if the approver misses the email, they will get a reminder in 7 days' time. Again, through the owner login system, the committee member can check on the Reports and Documents tab, and that may give them information about whether that invoice is approved for payment. For example, if there was a report that was generated, say the 2016 swimming pool certificate with a corresponding invoice, the committee member may check that the report is available before approving the invoice. If at any time a committee member using the Invoice Approval Hub has questions about the system, please feel free to contact our team. We can log into the system to see exactly what you see on screen. So whilst we can't take actions for you, we can talk you through the system. Thank you.